Greetings, welcome to my Mary Rose guide tutorial. I'm Force of Nature representing top tier tips, and I welcome you to your prime spot for tips and tricks to help you level up at Dead or Alive 5. Alright, in this session, we're going to be taking a look at Mary Rose, DOA's resident Lolita, or just Loli for short. Alright, so what is there to say about Mary Rose? Apparently she's supposed to be some sort of servant of Helena or something like that, but yeah, there isn't really much backstory on her. Basically her sole role is to be DOA's cutie. I mean, look at that. See, isn't she a whimsical little devil, isn't she? Yeah, so hey there, I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, she's probably one of the few characters that actually kind of makes Ayane look pretty big. I mean, yeah, she's standing straight up, but yeah, well, that's Mary Rose for you. Well, let's just get right down to it. Alright, Mary Rose is a defensive character with some nice punch parries, offensive holds, pretty good evasion, and good safety on a lot of her pokes and strings. Generally, what you want to do with Mary Rose is you want to probably hover around kind of like mid-range, so it's generally around maybe the same distance from like the start of a match. Like around that distance, which is called round 1 fight. What you want to do is just hover around here and like utilize some safe pokes. Some example of attacks that I can recommend is stuff like, it's like 4K, there's also 4PK, which ends up with the same kick. This goes mid-punch, mid-kick. You can also use 3K. Alright, see, these moves are all reasonably fast, like 4K being 16 frames and 3K being 14 frames. So they're decent speed. They're more or less are safe on block. Like 4K is about -5 and 3K is -6. Alright, technically speaking, if something's -6, what that means is that the opponent has an opportunity to perform a 5-frame, or even some characters have a 4-frame neutral throw, which can be broken with the throw button. So something like mine that's -6 or -7 would be considered semi-safe. So generally with those kind of attacks, you don't have to worry about really being punished for them, but you do have to be mindful of a neutral throw attempt. Anyways, before you actually like do anything with Mary Rose, I do generally highly recommend looking at well, both her her command training and her combo challenge. I have to throw out a small disclaimer. If there's anything that I end up saying or going over or whatever throughout this tutorial that you're unsure of or don't know of, be sure to take a look at some of my other tutorial guides to see if you can find some answers to your queries. Anyways, let's go check out her let's check out her combo challenge. Alright, the main reason why I would recommend looking at her command training is because there are certain transitions that she has. The two main transitions are called Rondo and Minuet. You will see. I will go over those throughout the guide, so you'll get an idea for them, and I will go over the transitions. So I'll let you know what the different transitions are in the info down below. All right. So, but right now I just want to show you her combo challenge. All right, for here, I mean the first few ones are, I mean, yeah, just obviously they give you an idea of what the character is about and the kind of stuff you can do with her. But the ones I want you to look at are around the middle. There's these four ones here that are called combo from a hold. All right, they're labeled difficulty 3. The main reason why I want you to look at these is because Mary Rose is equipped with advanced holds or expert holds on every hit level. As you can see right here with the top bar, you see that an expert hold is usually a 2-directional input. So what you see right now at the top, I have the repeat set to on. So you use the options button and press either back or forward and it turns it on. With repeat, it allows you to do it over and over. See, once you feel comfortable with doing it, then you can just go on to, you can turn it off to go on to the next one. So I'll just turn it off now and just, it'll show each one. So obviously with it off, it ends up going to the next challenge. The first one was for high punch. This one right now looks to be for mid punch. Alright, this one here is for low punch. I'll just let you know that this one is actually a fair bit trickier than the other two because you need to be really sharp with your follow-ups. Yeah, you see, with that one, you have to end up doing the 7K and H plus K and then back turn KKK like right away. Alright, right now this one's for her mid kick. This is another one that can also be a bit tricky if you can end up seeing with the way how it follows up. And it will also show off the Rondo stance. Yeah, see, I definitely recommend going over those ones. I definitely recommend going over those ones pretty regularly until you just feel comfortable with them and can basically just do them on the whim. Because obviously, compared to someone like Lei Fang, where Lei Fang pretty much you only have to really remember her mid-kick hold combos. I mean, for her like advanced hold combos, where Mary Rose, as you saw, she has like multiple combos that you have to remember. So that is definitely something I recommend looking at. And also, I was saying earlier that Mary Rose does have a she does have a punch parry stance called Rondo. You might have seen it earlier. She does like a little twirl. That move for this stance here, well, its purpose is it stops high punch or mid punch retaliations. For instance, if you end up doing like an elbow on someone's blocks or her 6P, if you hold back, it goes into the stance. So if you're just conditioning someone with like elbows on their block and you hold back, this will stuff any high punch or mid punch retaliations. I mean, yeah, if you see a Mary Rose like spamming this, and you could just 2P her or like kick her in the face, but oh, that's just all part of DOA's metagame. I mean, so, but the whole point is to kind of know what the tools are generally kind of utilized for. So it is nice to have tools like this where Mary Rose can kind of discourage certain types of retaliations, which can condition the opponents to have to use certain moves in order to get around it, such as different various kicks or lows. But anyway, for Rondo, that's another one similar to like the other kind of stance, the minuet, where you have to try and just remember the different kind of ways that you can like transition into it. Like, I know there is many different ways, and don't worry, I will end up listing the different transitions in the info down below. Okay, let's have a look at Mary Rose's close range game. Alright, with that, and I'll let you know with Mary Rose, you're probably gonna want to be around close range a fair bit anyway. I mean, I'll just let you know right now, she has pretty decent speed. I'd consider her standard in speed, in the sense that she's not necessarily particularly slow in anything. Like, for instance, she has her 10 frame jab, 12 frame 6P, and 14 frame 2P that is 0 on hit, so it's just neutral. She also is possessing a 12 frame high kick. She does have a 14 frame mid kick in her form of her 3K. Her 6K is actually a bit slower at 17, though it does stun on hit. 4K also stuns the 16 frame mid kick, but in general, fighting close, you're mostly going to be using like punch attacks or like kick attacks. Like KK, as you see, has a sit down stun follow up. Like if you end up doing K, then you can do that. I mean, with KK, so it gives you it gives you plus 23, so it's a decent amount of advantage. But yeah, if the opponent does stagger escape, then some of your like 20 frame follow-ups, if you were to like use something like 66K, maybe able to get out of it. But although 4K, as you can see, maybe a bit of a quicker option, so that can be like a better go-to, even though I do tend to favor 66K a fair bit, but I'll just go over that a little later in a different section. Alright, so now just continuing on with close range. And when you are looking over a character, I highly recommend turning on the move list so you can end up seeing all the different things you can do. Alright, so just to let you know a couple things. Her PPP, or her 6PP, or even just her plain 9P. So if you look at the top of the little move listing, it highlights the one I'm doing. All these ones are just -5 on block, like I can show you right here. You see all that -5 on block, and in DOA5LR, -5 on block is generally considered pretty safe, so you generally don't have to worry about punishment off that. I will let you know that it is a -5 on block high, but out of this, I mean 6PP, also you can also do 6PK, which is like a -7 on block string, which also has tracking ability. And with PPP, they did add an additional attack to it on there, which is PPPP, which is also like her 236P. For this move, I don't really recommend it that much, as it is a bit unsafe and gimmicky, but it is nice to end up just having a follow-up at the end of that to, well, discourage retaliation and to do some like kind of jab nonsense on someone's block. But yeah, in general, Mary Rose actually, well, like I mentioned like near the beginning, Mary Rose actually is pretty safe on quite a bit of her. She's pretty safe on quite a bit of her moves, so you generally don't have to worry about punishment that much with her, as long as you're not like spamming like launchers on someone's block or anything. So with your opponents, the thing to try and do is, I guess, with Mary Rose, is to try and condition them to try and maybe push a button at the wrong time. Like I ended up alluded to earlier during when I was showing you just her Rondo and stuff, is to try and condition the opponent, or try and bait them into wanting to retaliate with like high punches or mid punches, so with jabs or highs. So I mean, obviously I showed the example with the 6P4, which and 6K4 also, they both transition into Rondo. So with moves like that, you can kind of condition opponents on block a bit. But in general, Mary Rose isn't really what I would consider an aggressive character. So a lot of stuff you're doing with her is usually under the purpose of like conditioning your opponent for some sort of response. Although, just continuing on with her P string, she also can transition into a low off it with PP2P. That still also has follow-ups to along with it. Just PP2P, then you could like end up into Rondo. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, they're PP2P can be used as like a low poke and a string. Generally with Mary Rose, they're kind of mix-up options, like her lows, aside from like 2K, aren't necessarily the fastest. Like they have decent enough speed. I mean, well, this one here is actually a little slower, but it's still actually a pretty good move. But yeah, I mean, well, with 2H plus K and 6K 2K, you can use those to shake up opponents. Like 6K also has 6K's follow-ups are delayable. That's 6K K and 6K 2K, which is pretty much the same as like 2H plus K. So See, with this you get a bit of frame advantage, or you get +8. Oh, so if you do, well, with 6K, 2K, you get a bit more because the second, like if you connect with 6K, then you'll end up having the equivalent of connecting on counter hits, so you get a bit more advantage. So yes, this is basically your go-to frame advantage, your go-to frame advantage lows. All right, now for kind of crushing, like first we'll start off with high crushing. The go-to high crushes for Mary Rose is essentially your 3H plus K, this little wheel kick. Gives a little bit of advantage, well, she gives about +25 advantage on stun, which is pretty good. It can allow you to follow up with 20 frame moves. Although, of course, the recommended mid kick is, if you were to follow up like a mid kick, I would say usually use 4K. There's also good old elbow, or like 3P for a lift stun. So yes, if you do end up stunning your opponent, 3P will be your go-to. 3P will be your go-to, well, stun extender, since it gives a really nice lift stun. So along with 3H plus K, another high crush you can use is 3P plus K. So this move here does have multiple follow-ups, like 3P plus K, 2P, 3P plus K, K, and 3P plus K throw for a very adorable looking offensive hold. Jumps on their shoulders and just beats the crap out of them. Here, I'll show you a little something if you were to high crush under something, and the go-to will generally be, you'll generally want to do a mix-up between 3P plus K, K, and 3P plus K offensive hold. The lows for if the opponent just freezes up and you want to just poke them for a little stun reset, but the K and the throw option are the ones I recommend. Here, I'll show you a little something to do after the 3P plus K, K. Alright, so just after the 3P plus KK, use back turn 4P to launch. You can do PPP, then PPP 6K, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6P, K. Alright, now for some go-to force tech attacks, like if you end up knocking the opponent down and you want to force him back up. The main one you're generally going to be using with Mary Rose will be like your P plus K. See right there, you get a force get up. You can use 2H plus K. Just to let you know, in training, the opponent actually gets 1 frame faster than how fast a human would. So generally you can go for 2H plus K or 3H plus K. I actually kind of like P plus K because it has got okay speed at about 21 frames, and it's only like -4 on block, which is pretty handy. If the opponent does get up and block it, then you're safe from punishment. And that's a big thing with Mary Rose, is just finding ways to play her safely. Alright, now I'm just going to be going on to her mid to long range game. Alright, I'll just let you know right now, I mean, just take a look at Mary Rose. I mean, she's not exactly the biggest girl in Dead or Alive 5 last round. I mean, if you see her, she's got little stubby limbs. Like, look at her 3K. I mean, fairly fancy opponent. So let's let you know right now with Mary Rose, you're generally not going to be beyond, say, like, mid-range with her. So, I mean, from the kind of, like, mid to close range that I recommend, that's the range you should, like, try and stay with Mary Rose. If you end up any, like, the recommended and, Mary Rose's the special movement isn't really so much based around getting in or anything. I mean, she does. I will show you that like a little later. She does like have a really good side step move right there, the minuet, but and a decent cream backdash. But generally, for anywhere beyond like just the edge of close to mid range, I mean, with Mary Rose, your objective more or less to be trying to get in. Alright, like for instance, I'll say your go-to get-in move with Mary Rose is her 6-6K. I mean, it's a decent mid-kick. It is, I think, semi-safe on block at -7. I mean, both her 6-6K and her 6-6P are both 20 frames. Like 6 XP is also her critical burst. The move's -6 is -6 block. So it is a. So I mean, both these moves you can end up mixing up between a mid kick and a mid punch for getting on the opponent. 6K reaches a little further, but of course 6 XP is one frame safer. You can also use these moves for with punishment, along with 236, along with 236P. So yeah, you can use those two moves. If you need to create any space, like if you really do want to like, get away from your opponent, you have your 7P. Mary Rose has a cute little cartwheel, but with Mary Rose, you don't really want to be too far from their opponents unless your opponent just has sloppy footsies or something like that. So yeah, try and stay as best as you can with Mary Rose's range, because you don't want, because I'll just let you know, Mary Rose's stubby limbs can become a huge can end up becoming a huge weakness for her against opponents with very good range control, space control, and keep out ability. Alright, if you're going to be poking with Murray around mid-range, I already kind of like showed you some pokes that you can use. I like the 4K, 3K, or 4PK. 6PP is okay-ish. It's a mid-high, or can be mixed up with 6PK, although generally speaking, if you're going to be poking, you're going to be using 4K or 3K, or preferably 6K to try and get in. If you know the opponent's going to do a high, then you can use 3P plus K. Remember, you're going to mix up with either K or the throw. Alright, now I'll just be going on to Mary Rose's throw game. Alright, let's say right now, straight up, I think Mary Rose's throw game is actually, well, her actual just throws are pretty average. Like, she just got her usual kind of like 5-frame throw, 7-frame punish throw, and she's got her 10-frame throw. Like, all those throws don't really do a huge amount of damage. Like, I think the neutral throw does like 45 punish, her 60 does like 50 damage, and her 4T does like 56 damage. So generally your go-to damage throw will be your half circle forward throw. So right here it does about 62 damage, which will mean 93 damage on high counter throw if the opponent whiffs a hold. So this is generally will be your damage throw. Forward throw, her forward throw and forward throw, so her 60 and 6T do have walled versions, so you can get an extra 10 damage, which is kind of nice. But the actual throws I like with Mary Rose actually happen to be offensive holds. Like, she's got a decent 16-frame offensive hold, her 6T. It's kind of neat because unlike other offensive holds, Mary Rose doesn't make a sound when she does it, so it actually can come off being really sneaky. Just to let you know, offensive holds' purpose are to beat out slower strike retaliations, because offensive holds technically beat out strikes, so it's kind of neat having silent offensive holds. She also got her 3T, which is also a crouching offensive hold. But her sneaky, obviously, I'd say right now her best offensive hold is her back turn offensive hold right here. Like with this offensive hold, you can get a guaranteed H plus K on an opponent, and then you can do like follow-ups of your choice. Like I can show you like a little thing that you can get off it. Right there, what I did after you end up hitting the offensive hold, H plus K, 7K, H plus K, 7K, back turn 6K. Then after that you have 6K4, 6K 4K, which or 6K Rondo K. In order to get that, you have to do it like right away. So 6K4. So basically, just input as 6K4K. Then After that, just end off with a back turn PP 6B, PP 6BK, which is pretty much the same as her forward version. So yeah, that is a good go-to damage setup. Although I'll let you know that only the H plus K would be guaranteed. So I mean, you can actually kind of go for like a reset. Come on. You can also go for like a reset situation by like doing like 6P, like doing some like just doing some shenanigans like that. Right there, you can do like a little critical burst setup. And right there, you get a little reset situation there with a little shenanigans. So it's really handy having both 6B4 and 6K4 right there. It's a really good way to set up her back turn offensive hold, which actually does happen to have pretty decent range too. And I also showed you her other offensive hold off of her rolling stance or rolling T. The main things to know about this offensive hold is that the good things about this hold is how it kind of aids Mary Rose's kind of evasion. Because basically how it starts as a high crushing roll, then you end up jumping into a low crushing throw. Well, low crushing jump and throw. So it high crushes then low crushes. And yeah, if you spam it, it kind of becomes a bit of a gimmick, but the evasion is the nicest thing about this. And also being an offensive holder will beat out any kind of untimely strike retaliations. If someone does this and they try and if they try and strike you out of it, then if they're too slow, then you'll beat them out. And just to let you know, what's the best way to set up her back turn offensive hold? Minuet. Essentially, the condition you're doing with this move is you're making the opponent fear getting hit by Mary Rose's little butt of doom, the lowly butt of doom. And also, I'll just let you know right now, she also has a back turn critical burst inputted with P plus K, so you can do critical burst setups from back turn also. But generally, what you're going to do is just give your opponent a face full of lowly booty. Just let you know before you decide to spam her ass all willy-nilly, the move is actually like minus 18 on block, so you can actually be punished pretty hard for misusing that. So the sole purpose of that is to be a conditioning tool. But the main thing about this is to be able to enter into back turn stance. So once you condition the opponents to fear your ass of doom, then you could start trying to sneak in this. And be careful, that's another thing the opponent will kind of look for, so yeah, it's all part of the idea of trying to get the opponent to respect Mary Rose's defensive tools. As for Minuet, I'll just let you know this is the best friggin' sidestep move in the game. I mean, not only does it have low crushing abilities, if you do it in like point blank range, it actually can avoid tracking moves, so you can avoid both a low or mid wake up kick with this move. I mean, this move is pretty freaking crazy, but yeah, I mean, this move right here is actually what deceptively makes Mary Rose quite good on top of all her other good tools and safety. So if the opponent doesn't know how to deal with this move, go nuts. It will annoy the friggin' hell out of them. So why not, right? And that sound she makes also will get on your opponent's nerves. So why not? I mean, might as well. Alright, so now I just want to show you just at the wall with Mary Rose. Just pop little Ayane over there. Yeah, I don't really recommend spamming that move, but you can do it anyway. Alright, for wall moves with Mary Rose, for wall slamming, the most common ones you could be using is either like 66K or 66P. You can also use 236P, but of course if that move gets blocked, it's unsafe. But it's 3 frames faster than 66K or 66P at 17 frames. For if your opponent's like stunned or something and you're gonna have counter hit status, you can use 3K or neutral K, which are 14 frames and 12 frames respectively, which is actually pretty cool. There, 14 frame and a 12 frame wall slamming move. Alright, if you do end up wall slamming an opponent, here, just use that juggle right there. After the wall slam, use a 4K, 6K, 4K, then back turn PP6, PP6PK afterwards. Alright, now I'm just going to show you a critical burst juggle. Alright, right there, that is similar to the juggle that you can get off of after doing her back turn offensive hold. So just reminder, after you get the critical burst, you're gonna be using 7K, back turn 6K, 6K 4K, then back turn PP 6PK. Alright, so thank you for sticking me through this while I'm just doing a little lowly exploration. Alright, I will let you know that this is it for now. I'll just let you know if you end up having any questions about anything in this tutorial, or don't necessarily understand something that well, feel free to contact Force of Nature on freestepdodge.com. You can also contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Anyways, I will say some stuff to practice. Alright, what I do recommend practicing is trying to memorize the transitions into her Rondo or her minuet. To help you out, you can put on the move listing right here. Like this right here can show different ways. For Rondo is more or less commonly, I think, inputted with like a back, and minuet would be more commonly inputted with like an up or down. So yeah, so you can just take a look at that, and as a reminder, I will show you the different, I'll list out the different transitions down in the info below. But yeah, anyways, I just want to also let you know this. Check out my other character guides just to get a little bit of a feel for the rest of the cast, and to also see if just to see, number one, if I've done your favorite character, and also basically just for familiarity with how the just for familiarity with the rest of the cast. And also, don't forget to subscribe and rate for more DOA goodness. That will make Ayane and Murray Rose very happy. Anyways, this is Force of Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.